This is Bob Palmer, and you're listening to ZoneTalk by Sport Excel, where the magic of the zone is a game changer. In every episode, we dive into the lives of high performers and learn their amazing strategies so that you can take leadership of your game, your team, and your life. I'd like to welcome Jordan Hintz. He's the shotgun coach for Hillsdale College in Hillsdale, Michigan, a small classical liberal arts college in Southern Michigan that has a sport partnership agreement with the Olympic sport body USA Shooting. He has led his team to a 2021 D3 ACUI high overall team national champions. He produced 5 All-Americans, and his school's athletes have gone on to win multiple international World Cup medals. Jordan has been the coach at Hillsdale for 4 years and was a 5-time ACUI Division III high overall team national champion, a collegiate All-American 3 times, and has won several individual honors. He also continues to enjoy success individually, as well as being a recreational bowler with several perfect games to his credit. Welcome, Jordan. He's here today to give us some insight into the process by which an athlete might be accepted into a college, such as Hillsdale, in order to compete in shotgun sports. I know that international and Olympic rifle sports have a long history of being a part of college programs. How long have athletes been able to compete in clay target disciplines at yours or other colleges?
Well, our program is new-ish. It was founded 2010, 2011. The history of collegiate clay target shooting goes back like 50 years, but a lot of those records are not very well kept. So it's kind of hard to say, but certainly within the last 10 years, it's exploded.
How popular as a competitive program across the U.S. is it in terms of numbers of teams that you compete against?
There are it's hard to know exactly. There's easily over 100. Sometimes you'll see estimates up to 200 to 300 teams that have programs. Every program is going to be different. They vary wildly. Some of them are student run. Some of them are fully funded programs.
How many are fully funded, would you say?
Really hard to say.
Okay. So I know that the clay targets is kind of a generic for a number of different disciplines. And if someone's listening to this and they go to high school, what key clay target disciplines does your program offer? Does the national competition offer?
So the 6 main collegiate shooting disciplines are American trap doubles, American skeet doubles, sporting clays, and super sporting. There are also relatively smaller number, but there are competitions for international trap and international skeet. So we do all of those.
Okay. What's the key difference between, say, skeet, trap, and sporting clays?
It's just the way that the targets are thrown. So in trap, the targets are primarily going away from you, but you don't really know what angle they're coming in. In skeet, the targets are fixed, but you move around a semicircle to shoot at them. And in sporting clays, they can be really anything. So. Okay. A lot of people will compare that to golf in terms of what it's like to participate in it.
Okay. And if someone is competing in just one of those sports, say trap shooting, and they excel in it, would that be sufficient to be accepted by a college by yours, or do they have to have multiple background in multiple sports?
I prefer to see people that. Sorry, my dog just jumped. I prefer to see athletes that have experience in multiple disciplines, but just because somebody only is shooting one discipline, that doesn't exclude them from, being under my, on my list. Typically, if somebody's only shooting American trap, that's all they do, then the athletes that I'm recruiting, the people that I'm very seriously looking at, are typically going to be averaging in the high 90% out of 100. It's difficult to, if you're only shooting one discipline, it's really difficult to separate yourself from other people that may be perspectives.
Okay, so it really is your CV. If you've got multiple disciplines, you're looked at much more highly than someone who is kind of, done one discipline all their life.
Yeah, especially in sporting clays because of the variation. People that are getting any experience in sporting clays, they're getting a big leg up on people that have never done it before.
Okay. And do they have to have any national or international competitive experience, or what's your preference there?
They don't necessarily have to. You can certainly prove yourself without traveling to the biggest of the big competitions, but you tend to see that the people that are the most competitive are the kind of people that are going to that kind of competition. The experience that comes from competing in events like that and the pressure that you go under is very, very hard to beat.
Okay. And would you be in touch with their coaches and if someone was applying?
I try to, if I can, try to get in touch with parents, coaches, other people if I happen to know them, that have a relationship with them. But a lot of times it's that information can be tough to come by. There's not a single good source that reveals contact information for athletes, let alone coaches. So.
Okay. No, I get that. How about, we're talking about different disciplines, and it'd be advantageous for a young athlete to be doing multiple disciplines. Is there anything else that they should, athletes or their parents should be thinking about in terms of approaching colleges? Like, is there, and is there a time frame? Should it be doing it the freshman, sophomore, junior year in high school, or, what's your preference there?
Earlier is typically better. I don't tend to try to be in too close contact with people before they get to high school. I do have people reach out to me when they're in 8th grade, 7th grade, but try not to bother them too much. Usually, I would say sophomore year is usually the best time to really start seriously looking at it. Junior year is fine. Also, if you wait for senior year, especially as far as Hillsdale goes, it's too late. For a lot of other schools, you still might be able to make it happen, but if you're not taking your college search seriously until you're already a senior, then your time frame is very, very short.
Okay. And are there typically any scholarships involved, as there are in some of the other sports?
Every school is going to be different. Hillsdale does offer shooting scholarships, and we can actually add shooting scholarships on top of academic scholarships, on top of need-based aid, on top of all kinds of different things. So Hillsdale is going to be different. I said before that every school is going to be a little different, but Hillsdale is certainly going to be different than pretty much every other school in that we are one of only a few entirely privately funded colleges in the country, so we don't accept any money from the government. All of our scholarships are donated to the college by supporters, and they are all given specific criteria, and that's what we have to abide by. So our shooting scholarships are scholarships that are given to us by donors specifically to give to members of our team.
Perfect. And some athletes, especially in some of the other sports I work with, they think being a great athlete is sufficient preparation. How important in your school are academic marks and SATs?
Hillsdale is a very, very difficult school, and it's a very, very difficult school to get into. So the shooting is important. It's helpful. But at the end of the day, the amount of pull that I have in admissions is generally pretty low. So Hillsdale does not want to admit students that they don't believe are going to be successful here. So if their grades aren't good enough, if the ACT, SAT scores aren't there, I'm not typically able to leverage the shooting ability very much. So that's super, super important. Right now is the best time to start worrying about as high as you can get your GPA. And for those of you that are sophomores, it's not too early to start thinking about taking, or at the very least preparing for ACTs and SATs. The more times that you can take those, the better off you're going to be.
So once you get to college, it's going to be you're going to be competing, you're going to be doing your homework assignments, you're as well as enjoying, I guess, a certain amount of, student life. You graduated from Hillsdale. What's it like balancing school and sports and the social side? I mean, when you're thinking of making that commitment.
It's a lot of work, especially at Hillsdale, because of the rigors of the college. It can be difficult to balance everything. It takes really good time management skills, really good study habits, but the ability is there. It can be done. It can be done, and you don't sacrifice everything to be able to do it. I graduated from Hillsdale with honors, and I didn't shy away from hanging out with my friends, and I got to shoot a whole heck of a bunch. So
it can be very exciting for athletes to be part of a team. I mean, what's involved? I mean, we talked about, okay, it's going to be a lot of hard work, but there's got to be some fun involved. Is there travel? What's the camaraderie like on your team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we tend to find, especially I have athletes say after a year, they'll come to me and they'll say, in high school I wasn't shooting on a team, and I didn't really understand how shooting could be a team sport until I got here. But it's a very fulfilling experience to be a part of a team. It still feels like it's a very much individualized sport, but there are lots of ways that the team atmosphere makes a big impact. So our team practices together 3 days a week. We have study tables set aside, time specifically that the team can study together. We try to do some team workouts. We have team dinners and team hangout sessions, basically as often as we can. And it tends that our athletes spend a lot of time with each other.
So it sounds like there's a fair bit of satisfaction just being part of that community within the college.
Yeah, and every year it feels like the team chemistry gets better. This last year was better than any of the years that I've been involved before that. So if we keep going on that path, then no complaints from me.
Certainly. And as you well know, the better the leadership and the camaraderie of your team, it just rubs off on each other. They rub off on, and the level of perfection or competitiveness increases year over year. Upon graduation, do any of your athletes continue with the sport, either recreationally or nationally, internationally?
It depends. It's very much person to person. We have athletes that continue shooting. We have athletes that go into the industry. But we don't have. I mean, our program is small, and it's relatively new, so we don't even really have a large sample size to be able to talk about that. Over the next couple of years, we'll start graduating some of those athletes that have had success, like in the Olympic disciplines, and seeing how much they continue to pursue those. It'll be fun to see.
So I imagine you only accept a few athletes each year. How many colleges? What's the opportunity for someone to get on a team somewhere, not just your place, your school, but any place? Is it fairly a reasonable expectation that you can get a position if you're a reasonable level and competent shooter?
Yeah, so Hillsdale is definitely going to differ a little bit this way. We're really limited mostly by our admission standards in the number of athletes that we carry. So this next year we'll have 16, which is the largest it's ever been. Last year we had 13, which was also the largest it had ever been. So we are limited that way. Other schools are not. Other schools will carry teams of 20, 30, 40 or more. So I like to tell people that even if Hillsdale doesn't offer what they want to study, or if the academics just aren't going to work out, I think that there is a school for just about any student. If you are involved in the shooting sports to some extent and you want to continue doing it in college, there's probably a school that will take you on.
Perfect. And it's been all very interesting. Is there, to wrap it up a bit, is there one last piece of advice you'd give an aspiring student athlete?
I think a good piece of advice would be to not worry about colleges reaching out to you. So it's certainly going to happen, but I've had lots of success with people reaching out to me. As a college coach, there are thousands and thousands of kids that are out there shooting. I can't keep tabs on all of them, and I can't find contact information for all of them. So if you are interested in going to a college to shoot, my contact information, that team's coach's contact information is hopefully available somewhere, and reaching out to them is going to give you your best chance. And starting to prepare as early as you can is super helpful too.
And to add to this last bit of advice, is there a piece of advice you'd give parents of an athlete in helping them through this process?
I think it's important that you give them space but also guidance. So I like talking to the parents of the students. It's most important that I'm talking to the students themselves, but getting a sense for what the parents are like is also very helpful. Hillsdale has a focus on making sure that the parents are still involved at education at this level. And it can be a little daunting to reach out to a college coach, and at the end of the day, your parents are probably the ones that are figuring out travel, going to visit schools. On the money side of things, they're often having a large hand in that. So I think it's important for them to be involved in the process as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I do have one last question, and that is, if you could do it again, would you, and why?
I would absolutely do it again. I would do pretty much everything the same. I can't imagine having gone to a school other than Hillsdale. The education is unbelievably good. You're really getting a top-tier education coming to Hillsdale. And ultimately, that is what I wanted in my college experience, is going to school, so better get the best education that I can. And the shooting was above and beyond. It was really basically about as much shooting as I could handle, totally covered by the college. So I have very little complaints about that. The one thing I wish I would have done was taken the ACT a couple more times.
Okay. And that's good. That's a final piece of good advice for young athletes wanting to get into college and their parents. Perfect. Thank you so much, Jordan. This has been illuminating on a subject that, like you said, maybe people are a little bit daunted by this task, and I don't think they should be. I think there's a whole range of opportunities out there, and very exciting opportunities, and you pretty much, parents will know their kid and know what they're capable of, and I think this is one area that just could open up a whole new world. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
to you soon. Okay. This episode of ZoneTalk by Sport Excel has ended. But be sure to subscribe and be sure to rate and review us so that we can continue to bring you the best zone and high performance content. See you on the next episode.